Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to work through our first lessons of this online learning that is about to go down. So what we have here is very similar to how we've been doing test reviews, where I'm going to work the odd questions with you and you will try the even ones. So you can pause the video when you're working on the evens, or you can keep rolling through and go through all of the evens after you do the odds with me. So what you're going to do is grab a piece of paper. It could be notebook paper, white paper, whatever you have, and you are going to write down all of the questions that I have on here onto your notebook paper. Then at the end of these videos, you'll have one practice page that's on your It's Learning. You'll do the practice questions, then you'll take a picture of all three. So you'll take a picture of these notes, the next video, and then the practice problems, and you guys will email them to your teacher so that way they can give you credit for doing your week 1 assignments. So before we begin, the one thing that is going to be very useful for you guys is if you have an iPhone, there is an app that's called Taculator. Taculator. Very strange name. Taculator. I'm going to rewrite that because that's a little ugly. So it's Taculator. So that is a graphing calculator that looks pretty similar to the Inspire. It's a little bit different from what we have at school, but it's very similar. And so that is the iPhone's version of a graphing calculator. So that way it's easier for you to type in negatives and fractions and things like that. So if you have an iPhone, that's my favorite calculator app for iPhones. If you have an Android, then my favorite one for Android is called Wabbit, W-A-B-B-I-T, E-M-U. You've probably heard that from teachers in your past. So if you have an Android phone, if you go to your Play Store, then you can download Wabbit EMU, and that's a really good calculator for you to be able to mess with negatives and things like that when we work on these online learning lessons over these next couple of weeks. So what we're going to do is go back to the math that we found most important. So instead of continuing with the new stuff where we left off, which we'll do when we see each other again, so instead we're going to do the math that is most important for you to be good at for the rest of your high school time. So the first thing that we're going to do today is solving equations, which should be pretty easy for you because you've done this before. You've done this since like 7th grade, and it builds. It gets a little bit more difficult as it goes. So we're going to start with number 1. So in number 1, I like to draw a border to separate the left side of the equation from the right side. So our goal when we solve equations is to get the variable by itself. Remember, a variable is a letter that we're trying to figure out what its value is. So we are solving with the variable on one side. So the variable's on the left here, just on one side of the equation, we have a variable. So what we do to get x all by himself is we move the constant. That's the number that doesn't have an x with it. So see here, positive 6. To get rid of a plus sign, we have to subtract 6. Whatever we do on the left side of the border, we have to do on the right side of the border. So I'm going to subtract 6 from the right. 10 minus 6 is the number 4. We bring down 2x, bring that down from the left side. Now to get a letter completely alone, this is like saying 2 times x. So to undo this multiplication, we are going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. Very easy. So that leaves me with x equals 4 divided by 2 is the number 2. Super easy. This is called a two-step equation. It's 2 steps. Step 1, move the number to the other side. Step 2, divide to get the x by itself. So now x is the number positive 2. So try the exact same thing on number 2. Solve for the letter x, see what x equals. When you're ready, let's take a look at number 3. So in number 3, again, move the constant. That's the number without a letter. So if that was a positive 2, I'm going to subtract 2 from the left, and I subtract 2 from the right. On the left side, that leaves me with x over 6 equals 4 minus 2 is the number 2. So now you get here and you're like, oh, this is so difficult. I hate fractions. I never was good at fractions. So what we're going to do is we're not going to think of this as a fraction. We're thinking of it as division. This is saying x divided by 6. To undo division, we are going to multiply. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So if I times 6, it makes it go away. That means I'm going to times 6 on the right-hand side. So now x is left by itself. 2 times 6 is 12. Very easy. Still a two-step equation. We moved the constant to the other side, and then to undo division, we had to multiply. Try the same thing with number 4. In number 4, this is a minus 5, so we're going to start by plus 5 plus 5. Very easy. Try number 4, and then we will move on. All right, so now we're moving on to number 5. Number 5, same idea. We've got one new step. The new step is called distributing. You guys are so good at distributing. We've done this all year long. So when we distribute, what we're going to do is we are going to get rid of the number in front of the parentheses. 2 times 3 is the number 6 with an x. 2 times 4 is the number positive 8. Equals 24. So remember, when we distribute, we are multiplying. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. Now we have a very easy two-step equation, just like what we just did in numbers 1 through 4. To solve a two-step equation, we subtract the constant. We move the 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Makes it go away. That leaves me with 6x in equal sign. And 24 minus 8 is the number 16. Is it really 16? Yeah, 16. How ugly. Whoops. That's not very pretty. So in this one here, we now have to get x by itself. So we divide by 6 and divide by 6. And that's supposed to be a 12. Okay, so that just leaves us with x equals 16 over 6. 16 is not divisible by 6, so that is a fraction, but we can always reduce fractions because these numbers are both even. We can cut them in half. So 16 over 6 is the same as 8 over 3. You could leave it as 16 over 6. That's not incorrect. It just gets reduced. 8 over 3 is the same. So try number 6. Number 6 is much easier. Distribute, move the constant, and divide. Not too bad. When you're ready, let's take a look at number 7. So on number 7, again, we have a number to distribute. This time it's a negative 4 is the number in front of parentheses. So I multiply. Negative 4 times 3 is the number negative 12 with an x. Be careful, negative 4 times negative 6. A negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 6 is 24. Equals 32. So now we need to get x by itself. So to do that, I'm going to move the constant, just like always. That's that number. I'm going to subtract 24. And that leaves me with negative 12x. Equals 18. No, 8. Sorry, guys. It would be good if I knew how to math. Yep. So 32, we subtract 24. 32 minus 24 is 8. Then we get x by itself. To get x by itself, we divide by the number that was with the x. That number was a negative 12 and a negative 12. So again, 8 divided by negative 12 is not a whole number. I can't do 8 divided by negative 12, but I can simplify it. So 8 over 12, it means I can divide the top by 2. I can divide the bottom by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And there is a negative. So this can get simplified again. Divide by 2, because they're even. So the final answer is negative 2 over 3. This here was also correct, but we were able to simplify it and then simplify it again. So number 7, negative 2/3. I distributed, I moved the constant, and then I divide by that number in front. Go ahead and try number 8. Again, number 8 does not have fractions. It's a little bit easier than number 7 was. So distribute, be careful with your negatives, move your constant, and then divide. Not too bad. Okay, when you're ready, let's move to number 9. We are almost done with this video. So in number 9, again, I'm going to draw a border. But this time there's no parentheses, so I'm not going to distribute. What I'm going to do is called combining like terms. What that means is that I have 3 x's here, and I have minus 2 x's here. So 3 x's minus 2 x's is 1 x. Then I have plus 4, an equal sign, and a 10. So I combined my x's. 3 x's minus 2 x's is 1x. So now it's just a 2-step equation, very easy. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. So 1x. 10 minus 4 is the number 6. I get x by itself by dividing. So x equals 6. Very easy. Try the exact same thing with number 10. And number 10, we combine like terms. 2 x's plus 4 x's make how many x's? Not too bad. Let's look at 11. So number 11, we have lots of like terms. I have negative 5 x's plus 3 x's. You can use your calculator if you struggle with negatives. Negative 5 plus 3 is the number negative 2 with an x. I have more like terms. I have a positive 8 and a minus 2. 8 minus 2 is the number 6. I have more like terms. I have a positive 8 and a positive 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. So now it's a very easy 2-step equation. I'm going to subtract 6. Move that constant. That leaves you with negative 2x equals 4. I get x by itself by dividing. X equals 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Not too bad. Try the exact same thing with number 12. Combine like terms. There's lots of like terms to combine. We're going to combine those x's. Then you're going to combine these constants. So 2x plus 8x. And then 2 plus 18. Figure out what those numbers are. And then on the right side, you have more like terms that you're going to combine. Then you'll have a 2-step equation and can solve for x. Not too bad. Okay, let's move into the last piece of this. Okay, number 13. So 13 is the most difficult of this video, but it's not that bad. So in number 13, it says distribute first, then combine like terms and solve. So what that means is we have parentheses. So I'm going to distribute this number first. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 with an x. Negative 4 times negative 6 is positive 24. So I distributed this times its first term, this times its second term. So now I just bring the rest down. Plus 6x minus 10 equals 4. Okay, I distributed to get rid of parentheses. Now I'm going to combine like terms. This x, here's another x. Negative 8x's plus 6x's. So in your calculator, you can do negative 8 plus 6. That's the number, -2 with an x. I combined like terms. I have more like terms, a positive 24 and a minus 10. 24 minus 10 is the number 14. And these equal 4. So now I need to get x by itself. To get x by itself, we move this number to the other side. Minus 14 to the right. That leaves me with -2x equals 4 minus 14. If you struggle with negatives, you can plug that in a calculator, or you can do it in your head. 4 minus 14 is -10. Then we get x by itself. Divide by -2 and divide by -2. So that leaves me with the number x equals +5. So try that same idea with number 14. 14 is a little bit easier, but you still need to distribute and then combine like terms and solve. Not too bad. You might get a fraction for 14. Okay, so once you are complete with this video, make sure you have all 14 questions written on a piece of notebook paper. You have to answer all 14 of these. And then you'll take a picture of it and you will email it to your teacher, and then you'll watch the next video. So your next video is on your It's Learning page. So go ahead and get ready to complete that next video as well.